entertaining.
You get a little ice cream product placement for the stream.
Moose tracks.
Moose tracks. Peoria's finest.
All right. Who wants to give a recap from last session?
So it was a bit of a shorter session, but we started at an intersection after running from the watch, and we came upon a group of monks that we learned were monks of the Flayed Hand. And they were to our left. In front of us was another one of those flesh trees that signal the watch. And then to the right was a cart with a troll that was serving itself.
Typhling was carving him.
Oh, the Typhling was carving him too.
Yeah.
Okay. So we decided to go towards the cart. It was turning nighttime, and a storm was brewing. Then something happened with Tacitus. You threw a skull with light cast on it to distract guards, but there was an email or something that he was aware of that nobody else was, so it's not in my notes. It was a very bad thing. So I'm glad that we skipped it or escaped it.
Yeah.
An insect thing approached me and beckoned me to a pile of trash. And being that we were kind of seeing the guards come up behind us, kind of like in the distance, and they were gaining, and we were afraid. So Marthow just followed blindly, just to get out of there. And we ended up we all crawled into this trash pile. I failed a check and fell prone. And then we met Skulbyrh, who was this insect thing that, and an insect creature. And he was trying to convince us to go to help him pay off his debts so he would take us to the human settlement. We learned that we were potentially being chased by Zorchiklik, who leaked the watch, and we're not sure why he's after us, but he is.
So this is Skulbyrh.
He's a Thrycreen.
Very short Thrycreen.
Thrycreen.
Wait,
a little bit smaller than a...
Isn't that a different picture than we saw last time?
It is. It's more appropriate, I thought, to kind of show his stature, because the other one looked like it was pretty big. Skulbyrh is a bit shorter than a dwarf. Most Thrycreen, true Thrycreen, are like 6-7 feet tall. So this is Skulbyrh.
Okay. So Marthow casted suggestion on Skulbyrh to convince him just to take us straight to the human corridor rather than entering a tournament. And his intentions seemed dubious at best with that, so Marthow felt that was better to just try to get him to take us right there. So we are leaving. We left off. We were about to leave the tunnel, go through the tunnels to go to there. And he was only willing to take us halfway because he's afraid of being caught by Zorchiklik himself.
No, not Zorchiklik. The guy that he owes money to.
He owes money.
The guy is.
So, Kurt, just to fill in a couple of other gaps, Zorchiklik is kind of like the mayor / enforcer of Greywall. And Skulbyrh gave a description to you guys as to what he looks like, and he has tentacles hanging off his face is the most prominent feature. Nobody knows what that really means, though. at least in terms of what your characters know.
Could mean anything.
Yep.
Could be an octopus on his face. It was discussed.
Could be wearing an octopus as a hat.
Yeah.
It seems familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the trees that you guys were seeing are what are called his eyes. So he has a psychic link to those things. Normally they're just kind of passive, but Skulbyrh helped you guys to understand that because the trees seem to be turning in your direction every time you came past, Zorchiklik was actually interested in you guys and very purposeful in finding you. And Skulbyrh was trying to make a deal that because he saved you guys and can keep you out of Zorchiklik's reach, that you would try and help him repay a debt by fighting in the gladiatorial ring, where Zorchiklik tends not to go because that's kind of the one area of Greywall where lawlessness is allowed to prevail, and where because many of the creatures that live in Drome in general and Greywall in particular, they tend to prefer to fight and to kill things, but that's really prohibited under Zorchiklik's rule. And so it's the one area where they're allowed to vent those instincts without running into trouble. But Marthow cast that well-timed suggestion, and there you are.
It's the purge quarter.
Yep. And so the room that you guys are in, it's a fairly low ceilinged kind of underground cavern. It's not very big. It's got 3 entranceways, the way that you came in from, and then 2 other entryways. Both of them are, or all 3 of them are covered by some kind of furs or skins, and the floor is completely covered in these skins. And then there's a couple of light sources around the room which allow you guys to see. And so now, as you guys are, well, first of all, you've all had a chance to get a long rest in, so you guys should be at full everything.
Didn't one of the curtains have like magic or something?
So Tacitus did use detect magic. Tacitus, do you want to describe what you saw?
Let's see here. There were like different areas that showed different kinds of magic. Like the skins that we slept on had some form of abjuration magic on it. See here, the tunnels had some sort of conjuration on it, and then the trash, I think it was the way we came in, had transmutation magic on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So whatever the transmutation was, we passed right through it, right?
Yep.
Not a huge fan of that, but it's too late.
Well, as you use your detect magic, when you did that, you didn't notice any lingering auras on anybody in particular.
Sure.
So if you did pass through the magic, and if it would have had some kind of impact or effect on you, there would have been some kind of lingering aura that would have stuck to each of you. And so whatever it was, you were allowed to pass through it harmlessly.
Indeed. Okay. And then I cast my sanctuary on us that night too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which prevented possibility of Zorchiklik psychically being able to track you down during that period. So, did anybody want to do anything else, or Kurt, did Eivar want to have any questions answered or anything before the group moves on?
No, I'm good to go.
All right. So, as you pass through the skin / fur / curtain of the door to the right of you, you notice that it goes straight into darkness. And so that's the first thing. And so if you have no means to see in the dark, it's complete darkness for you.
I'm going to take out my wind-up lantern and start cranking on it, and then it'll project out and go out to 30 feet.
Okay. Skulbyrh turns to you and says, Skulbyrh knows that some people cannot see in the dark very well, but Skulbyrh would recommend not having a light here. Many things are attracted to this light.
Would I be able to combine some use of my dark vision spell and some action points to be able to get everybody?
Yeah. So
rather than having to cast it several times.
So, is that a concentration spell?
Nope, just lasts for 8 hours.
Okay. So then we'll say, because of the number of people, 2 action points.
Sure. And the spell slot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that so that we can all have dark vision.
So what does that spell look like when you cast it on other people?
So I pull out my component pouch and I tell everybody, sit still very quick, and I'll pull out a pinch of something orange and infuse it with my action point into my spell, and and it kind of like spreads out and kind of gets in your eyes, and you're like for a second. But then, you could see clearer in the dark all of a sudden.
I obviously don't need you shooting your powder into my eyes.
Well, if you would eat your carrots like a good boy, you wouldn't have to do that.
But I will douse my lantern.
Okay.
That was, in fact, dried carrots.
Upon seeing, I imagine seeing the tunnels come into focus as, this unwanted powder makes its way into my bloodstream. What do I see? What do I notice?
So first of all, you notice that there is a difference in terms of how you're seeing. When Eivar, when he turned the light off from his lantern, the glow of the light faded, but with it, it was like the colors from the walls also drained away as well. And you're seeing everything in a very strange way for you, because you're not used to seeing in dark vision. Everything is in black and white and shades of gray. You can't distinguish color at all.
Anyone else seen the DM flash green and yellow?
Oh yeah, that's
lights.
definitely me.
That's what?
That's his lights behind him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's the backlighting.
You're on drugs, Anno.
I just thought I was seeing in dark vision.
Let's see if this works. And then if we do this.
Oh yeah. Well, why was that happening? I'm confused.
It's the kind of light.
But why do you have a green and yellow flashing light?
It's not.
The light itself isn't. It's the way the camera picks it up. It's the frequency.
Oh. So
you get that same thing going on in Europe.
Okay.
So you're noticing that everything appears to be in black and white. Outside of that, you notice that where normally if you're looking out, like you see things clearly, and then things kind of get, as the distance moves forward, your focus kind of, you lose focus on details and things like that. But with this vision, rather than that, it's almost like 60 feet in front of you, there's like a thick fog that prevents you from seeing anything else beyond it. And it's a very strange kind of sensation if you're not used to seeing in dark vision. Outside of that, you notice that the tunnel that you're in is fairly small for you normal human-sized players. It's only about 5 feet tall. Yep. Just like that. So the tunnel is only 5 feet tall. It's probably only about 5 feet wide. And so everybody pretty much outside of Eivar and Skulbyrh needs to duck down in order to fit well in the tunnel. It seems, huh?
Are the tunnel walls dirt? Are they like? Mm-hmm. Do they have anything in the dirt? Like, are there stones? Is there like anything of note? Is there like roots that we're seeing?
Yeah, so
straight dirt.
No, you can see roots poking through every so often, and it is loose dirt that has been packed. It's like, it's as if you were in the underground burrow of some kind of prairie dog or something. So, and it's the ceiling, the walls, the floor are all appear to be the same. You see, that some pebbles here and there. There are some like larger stones that are embedded in the floor, the walls at different points, but it's largely just dirt.
Okay.
And it is, the air is pretty stale and musty. And while the air was musty in Skulbyrh's place, it wasn't stale. There was a sense of some kind of ventilation going on. The same cannot be said as you're moving down into the tunnel.
I kind of turned to Skulbyrh and I said, "So, what created these tunnels anyway? They don't seem natural."
You have a good eye, charming one. Skulbyrh made some of these. Skulbyrh made his room and some of these tunnels, but other areas are from other creatures that burrow under Greywall. And there are some places that are ruins from the old peoples.
The old peoples?
Yes, the old peoples. Skulbyrh believes that you call them Dhakaani. The Dhakaani.
Does Martha know what the Dhakaani are?
Give me is history a skill? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go with history. Anybody can make the check.
I got a 20.
I got a 9. So
I also got a 20. And I almost knocked my beer over. Let's move that.
16.
Anna, what'd you get?
16.
All right. So everybody except Marthow recognizes the name of the Dhakaani.
He was
Which
the one who asked.
What's that?
Then he was the one who asked.
Yeah. It's basically the name of the ancient goblinoid kingdom / empire that existed on Khorvaire before the humans made their settlements, and Galifar conquered the lands and united the kingdoms in the name of humanity. The Dhakaani still exists, but it's a shadow of its former self, with several scattered hobgoblin clans that are claiming the birthright of the old kingdom. So yeah, that's what you kind of know about that.
No. Dhakaani, I've never heard of them. They sound rather droll.
Hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back.
So did we determine whether or not the head that Elmorn, or not Elmorn, that Peitri brought with him was being used to track us, or is it just the fleshy trees?
We have not actually, because Peitri hasn't been a part of the session for
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
3 weeks.
It's difficult to say, but it seems like this Zor Chiklik is like
Oh, it's Zor Chicklick? I thought I was hearing Sir Chicklet.
Sir Chicklet. Yeah, there was a lot of different opinions on what people heard when he said that.
Yeah. First is what I wrote. The second is what what Mike wrote. Or kind of. I added the C. That other C. He's definitely saying Zor Chiklik.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
One more second. I gotta take a quick break. 1 second.
No
Sure.
problem.
Sir Chiklet.
I like that better almost.
He certainly seems less threatening.
I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm having some real stomach issues here today.
No, it's
No
no
worries,
problem.
man.
Good.
All right. So yeah, so you guys are seeing this tunnel, and Skulbyrh said that he's made some of them, but some have been made by other creatures. And then there's some about the Dhakaani.
Dhakaani, I've never heard of them.
They're goblins. That's all you really need to worry about anymore.
So is this tunnel heading like up or down?
So right now it just appears to be going straight. But as you guys go deeper in it and follow Skulbyrh, you notice that it is seeming to get smaller and smaller to the point where even Skulbyrh is needing to crawl forward.
Mm.
So does that mean like by that point we have all started crawling?
Yeah, so before you get to the point where you start crawling, if you guys want to make any objections or say anything.
Is there no better way?
Skulbyrh said he would lead you to the human quarters. This is the quickest, safest route.
Whoever's in front of me better not fart.
Can't make any promises. Safe is what we need, so I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
Come
All
this
right.
far, might as well keep going.
Marthow is he's actually I'm gonna cast I'd like to use, let's see, an action point. I don't know. I want to cast heroism on myself. And then I'd like to see if I could like do a party cast. But maybe I'll save that. Well,
Heroism?
yeah, I'm gonna cast heroism on myself.
Okay.
So you hear Marthow kind of humming to himself. And then like that just follows you as you go into the tunnel.
Okay. So you guys are all squeezing pretty hard through the tunnel. It's especially difficult for Elmorn and Tacitus with you guys wearing your armor and everything. You guys seen aliens?
Yeah,
No.
a lot.
You know the scene where Bishop is crawling through the pipe?
Yeah,
That's you guys right now.
that's real fucking tight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, so what is the party order? What is the marching order?
I'll lead the front. I need to keep Skulbyrh in plain sight. Keep your enemies close.
I'm sure it also has nothing to do with the fact that Skulbyrh is anatomically unable to fart.
No, nothing to do with that. Elmorn had some Chipotle before we get into this tunnel.
I shouldn't have had so much of that troll.
It's not going down well.
Chipotle? I meant troll play? Damn it.
Troll?
I can't put troll and Chipotle very well. Trolle? I had some trolle.
All right. So we got Elmorn in the front.
I'll go behind him.
Okay. Followed by
Yeah.
Eivar.
And then I'll go. No,
And Eivar, you're almost able to kind of crawl on your hands and knees because you're so much smaller than everybody. So you have a bit more wiggle room to work with.
I guess that
so
leaves.
Martha, you said you're next, and then Tacitus, you're bringing up the rear.
Yep, I guess so.
All right. So Elmorn, you're sweating. Tacitus, you're also sweating with the level of exertion you're having to push yourself with all this heavy armor through this small tunnel. And actually, everybody except for Marthow, give me a wisdom saving throw.
I got a 7.
Son of a bitch. I got a 10.
I'm going to use an action point because I rolled a 1.
I recommend that you do use that action point.
Hey, nat 20.
All right. So, Elmorn, you're plowing through the tunnel as best you can, moving very slowly. You're probably only moving about 10 feet around. And then all of a sudden, you hit something because you had a momentary lapse of attention, and you see that it's Skulbyrh's feet, and he's stopped.
Okay. Why are you stopping?
So suddenly you don't know how he manages it, but he manages to turn himself around to face you in this tunnel. Like all you see is like a weird moving of joints and everything, and even though he's much smaller than you, he manages to do that, and he stops and he goes shh. And at this point, Eivar and Tacitus, you guys, your heart is racing. Like you are experiencing some pretty bad claustrophobia right now, because of where you are, being underground, in the dark. Even being able to see in the dark, it's having a pretty strong psychological effect on you, just having that.
Plus, I know that Elmorn, having insisted no one fart and then taking point, is going to just let loose.
So you have suddenly the whole tunnel train stops as Skulbyrh has directed Elmorn to shush. So before I go further, Eivar and Tacitus, how are you guys handling your sudden, not sudden because it's been building this entire time as you've been underground, but being in this enclosed of a space, how are your characters reacting to it?
So Eivar is going to sort of get up as much as he can now that the whole train has stopped and start pushing as hard as he can against Elmorn's backside and in increasing volume saying, "What are you doing? Move! Move! Move!"
Got it?
And Tacitus is just kind of like laying there, like eyes closed, like "Fuck, come on, guys, just fucking move, just move." That's all you got to do is just move. This is me in a car, by the way, behind somebody who's going really slow in the fast lane. I'm just like, "What are you doing? Just go. What are you doing over here? Move. What are you?" Come on. Surely
like
you can't be. Surely you cannot be this dumb or worthless. Fucking move. Come on.
It's like the opening of Office Space.
All right, so
and you just hear Marthow just humming to himself, and that may or may not be it, further compounding the aggravation.
Oh, it's definitely making it worse. Yeah. Why is he so fucking happy? Let's fucking move.
At that moment, there's a sudden rumble. And Eivar, you very clearly see some dirt from the roof of the cavern that you're in fall a bit, like some dust shaking down from it.
I know what this
Like
is.
the rumble only lasted. So the rumble only lasted a fraction of a second.
I know what this is. This is where we die. I don't know what the hell I was thinking coming along with these guys. Should have just stayed at the tower. Would you just fucking move?
What's the
Elmorn.
hold up?
I rip a huge fart right on Eivar. Make him shut up.
Are you gonna roll for that one?
Yeah. Give me a Constitution check.
Eivar or
No, for Elmorn.
He's got to make sure he doesn't shit his pants.
That's a 10.
I got 12.
Although I point out, Eivar is at fart level all the time.
So you roll with advantage, Eivar. But Elmorn, you definitely shit yourself a little bit.
What the hell?
Hey, when you force it, you might not always get the results you are hoping.
All right, well.
Oh,
Sharp
great.
over
Now it
there.
smells like shit down here. Fuck.
Now it smells even worse then. Take it. Take it.
I just kind of like
Alright,
call up. If you don't move, I'm making a lot of noise and moving for us.
As you say that, there's another rumble. This one lasts a bit longer, and it shakes some more dust visibly from the roof of this small cavern. And Skulbyrh, nobody really hears it except Elmorn because of how much room Elmorn is taking up and the sound insulation of everything. But he says, "Seriously, stop moving."
Okay. At that point, if everyone's making all this noise, I like kick backwards, like shut up kind of motion. And I'm like, shh.
shut up, guys. We gotta be quiet.
So Eivar, give me an intelligence check.
I was natural.
Or insight.
I was natural 20 either way.
Okay. So you are able to understand what Elmorn's moves are. what Elmorn's moves indicate. And also, don't worry, guys. I try not to repeat monsters. Oh, that's right, Tony. You weren't there when they fought the bullet and made it an undead slave that guards their mansion, the Hanson mansion.
It does.
I also wasn't there. I just was there for the aftermath.
That would be new for most of us then.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it is a bullet. Maybe it is a bullet.
Friendly bullet?
Have you ever heard of a friendly bullet?
One can hope.
So Eivar, you're able to understand that Elmorn's movements are to indicate stop moving and shut up. Do you do anything with that?
I'm gonna quiet down and like get really low, and if I hear Marthow start humming again, kick backwards.
You actually have enough room where it's tight, but you could probably turn around, especially if you made an acrobatics check.
I will turn around. It's a 14.
That's good enough.
So I will
So
turn
it's
around.
tight, but you're able to turn around.
Turn around and say to Marthow, "Shut the fuck up!" And then.
I just kind of Martha is kind of he's like kind of put off a little bit, but he just kind of shrugs and says, "Okay," and just kind of like mentally starts humming.
It's like air guitar, but with humming.
It's all the great parts of humming, but without the humming.
And then Tacitus, what are you doing? Are you still freaking out?
I'm basically just trying to quiet the mind. I've seen combat before. I've seen people die. This isn't so bad. Fucking move.
So Elmorn, you see Skulbyrh very slowly and very carefully put one of his clawed fingers, just kind of sink it into the ceiling. You're not really sure why, but you can also see that he is moving so that his antenna is, because he pulls out the claw and then he moves the antenna into the hole. And then with that, there's another much longer rumble. And this one actually starts, you guys can feel it in your bones. It's almost like an earthquake, and it starts shaking much more rock or dirt loose from the ceiling.
I quietly observe because I don't want to die in a tunnel.
All right. Everybody give me, Marthow, you do it at advantage. Everybody give me another wisdom saving throw.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's much better. Natural 20, 24 total.
All right. So, despite the building terror that everybody is definitely feeling, you're all able to contain it well enough to not freak out. After a few more minutes of just this waiting game, this intense wait in the tunnel, Skulbyrh pulls his antenna out of the hole and says, "That was close. We don't want to run into that thing. Come on, let's get going before it tries to find us again."
I do another foot motion. That is the motion for, all right, you guys can talk now, and let's go.
How does that look?
One foot motion.
Yeah, Anno, can you demonstrate?
This is shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah, it's that foot motion combined with a little poop is shut the fuck up. Foot movement and bowel movement together.
Yeah.
Were I behind him, I would totally know because we were in the army together and all that.
Yeah, these are things I learned in Sire.
Yeah. These are military tactics, silent communication, all that.
All right, so the train starts going up again, and you guys move on, and then finally it starts to expand a little bit, and gives you more room, and then it actually opens up. There's a sudden drop almost. Like, Well, what Elmorn sees is that Skulbyrh, as he's crawling, he just kind of crawls down all of a sudden, and you see there's an edge to the tunnel. And as you poke your head out, it's probably about, this is a bigger cavern. It's more stone, rough stone. It's not work stone. Looks like limestone, and there's stalactites and stalagmites around, and you see Skulbyrh kind of just crawling down to the floor, which is about 10 feet down below you. So you guys make your way out of the tunnel, and you see this much larger cavern.
I like to imagine that as Elmorn emerges from the hole, there's like an audible pop, and then the rest of us are just like,
I feel like that's exactly what happens.
Is there any water nearby?
There's not like running water, but the cave is moist, and some of the stalactites are dripping with a little bit of moisture.
Moistness.
Yeah.
Right, I have a water
Also, Marthow, by now your heroism spell is probably running out.
Yeah.
I have a water skin, right?
Certainly hope so.
I take a little bit of water and run it down my pants, rub my butt.
Okay.
So moist.
Can't be smelling like shit when I fight.
Well, the goal here is to not have to fight, but
Yeah.
So
I mean, we avoided the fighting option so we could not fight in the tunnels.
all right, so you guys, this is a much larger cavern. It goes on for some time. A lot of it goes on beyond even your dark vision limit. And so it's one of those situations where you're trying to move slowly and carefully, because it's a very weird sensation. As you move forward, suddenly these stalagmites that you're passing by just kind of come into view when they're within 60 feet, as they pass through the fog of the limit of your vision. And so it's making you kind of have an instinct to trek more carefully than you normally might. Although, if you want to, you could fight against this instinct.
Sticking to Skulbyrh.
Huh?
So I'm sticking to Skulbyrh.
Okay. So he's nimbly moving back and forth between the stalagmites.
is he trying to hide from something?
No, it's just he doesn't seem to be well. Actually, give me an insight check.
20.
His body language is definitely kind of defensive, as if he's anticipating that there might be something, but it doesn't seem active enough that he's like really slinking around. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm going to try to be stealthy as I shoot between these stalagmites.
All right.
So are we going down the middle of the stalactite mites?
mites on the ground. Mites like mountains.
And tights, because they have to hold tight to stay up there. Not necessarily through the middle. Actually, you're kind of wandering off towards the left, up into the left.
Do we see any other? Like, is this a big cavern, or are there tunnels shooting off of it, or?
It's hard to tell because of the limits of your dark vision, but it definitely extends beyond your dark vision in a lot of areas. You're not seeing the walls because of this.
It's a pretty big cavern then, more than 60 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll follow him. However he goes, I'll go.
Elmorn, since you are up right next to him, give me a perception check.
19.
All right. You're about to get an email.
Also, just as a reminder, I have that feat that lets me dart between places of cover while being stealthy.
Oh, nice. You got the. Is that the skulker or the sniper?
I think it's called stealthy in your feat index.
Oh, right, right. Okay, cool. So, Elmorn, how do you respond to this?
Moist.
Wait. Okay. Is it moving?
Doesn't seem to be.
And Skulbyr's not reacting to it?
Skulbyrh may not have seen it. It's kind of off to the side.
Then I grab Skulbyrh by his shoulder and I point to where it is.
All right. So you guys all see this happen. So you see Elmorn suddenly grab Skulbyrh and point. Now, from where you guys are standing, there's a couple of stalagmites in the way between what Elmorn seems to be pointing to and yourselves. So you need to kind of move around to get a good look. But Skulbyrh, he sees it and he freezes. And he says, "This is not good. Be very quiet."
This is not a thing I do well.
So as you guys kind of bring yourselves around, this is what you see.
Is it on the ceiling?
No, it's on its back, and you only see like the upper half of it. The rest of it is around a corner. And actually, as you look at it a little bit, it does seem to be moving, but it's like as if it's being jostled. But the rest of it doesn't move in a way that seems natural. Like it's too rigid.
You mean like it's dead and it's being eaten by something?
Yeah, but no, because like if that were the case, you would expect that its arms might move a little bit, or at the very least its antenna. But all of it looks very stiff and rigid. If you guys want, you guys can give me a perception check at disadvantage, since you guys are in the dark and you're using dark vision.
Natural 1.
Damn disadvantage. I had a natural 20 before.
What kind of check was it?
Perception.
I got a natural 1.
Tacitus, what did you get?
16.
Okay. So I'm gonna hold on. Why is it going like this? So you see that it's petrified. It's like it's a statue.
Okay. Looks like it
Oh
was.
shit, Tacitus, it's that Medusa bitch. Back.
Careful with your eyes. Yeah. It's definitely turned to stone, it seems. Or carved from stone. Most likely turned to stone.
So I try to break one of the antennae.
All right, so in order to do that, you need to get around closer to it, and as you do, you see something else.
He just walks off. I'm like, what are you doing?
I got a 1 on my perception check, so I thought Elmorn said it's time to deuce a bit.
So this is what you see, and what it's doing is, although this creature, the ankeg, it's pretty clear that it's an ankeg, and those are fairly common enough that you'd all recognize it. It's stone, but what this creature is doing is it's like licking areas of its abdomen, and by doing that, the stone transforms back into flesh, and then after it's licked it enough, it takes a bite out of it.
Gross.
So everybody give me a stealth check.
Fuck.
Anybody can help me with that? That'd be great.
It's gonna be a point.
I got a 25.
Yeah, my heavy armor giving me a disadvantage put me down to a 10.
I got a 3, or I got a 5.
We're so good at this.
All right.
I got a 2.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a 4, actually.
Okay.
Much better. Double my original.
So before I tell you guys whether it's a success or a fail, tell me how you respond to this creature and what it's doing, and how you try to not draw its attention.
I mean, what is it doing?
It's eating the freaking bug thing.
Yeah, it's the bug has been made. It's been turned to stone. And if anybody wants to do a knowledge check to see, like, it would be knowledge nature, to see what this thing is. You guys can do that. But what it's doing is it's licking the stone of this creature, and the saliva is changing it back into flesh, and once a big enough area has been changed back into flesh, it starts eating the flesh.
Gotcha.
I got a 19 on knowledge nature.
17 for me.
All right, so Eivar, you know what this is. Do I need to explain it to you, or did you pick it up from the picture?
It looked like a kind of basilisk.
Yeah.
So I am going to silently, like a ninja, take the bow off my back with my back to a stalagmite, and then dart over to another stalagmite unseen, almost invisibly, in case these people who are clumping around breaking shit are going to get into a fight with it.
All right. Tacitus, Elmorn, and Marthow, what are you guys doing?
Well, I would have stopped moving when Skulbyrh told me to. I guess when Marthow goes over there brazenly, I'd have been like, what the fuck? And then, I guess if we're all noticing this thing now, I would just kind of like freeze up. Like, oh shit. But I guess in the process of freezing up, somehow I fucked up and made a bunch of noise.
What? How did you make noise?
So I had a hand on Skulbyrh, right, and I was pointing at the thing originally. When I see the basilisk, it freaks me out, and I like shove Skulbyrh.
Not our guide.
All right, so then that's going to require Skulbyrh to do his stealth check in disadvantage. So you basically knock Skulbyrh. Skulbyrh knocks into a stalagmite not too far away, causing his armor, his chitinous skin to kind of clatter against it. Marthow, what are you doing? Are you going to be able to stay awake?
I'm trying.
I was just thinking about how we could get rid of Skulbyrh, guys, so we can get to the human settlement on our own. We don't need this guy.
We definitely do. We have no idea where the fuck we are.
My friend will guide the way.
Do I see the basilisk?
Oh, yes. You're not sure what it is, though.
Yeah. Does it see me? Can I tell?
Right now it's just eating, as far as you can tell.
All right.
What do you do when you notice it?
I go back the other way.
So you pull a Homer. You pop through the bushes and then pop back into them.
Yeah. This is not what I signed up for. I go back to the group.
I'm imagining those two stormtroopers.
Yeah.
In The Force Awakens, whenever Kylo's having one of his temper tantrums.
Yeah.
His walk and his turn right back around.
Still humming his song.
And then Tacitus, what did you do?
I just kind of like, maybe I'm just a bit too transfixed by what it's doing. So like the most average roll possible I got. So I just kind of like am like a fat guy behind a small tree sort of thing. I'm not that fat, but it's kind of like looking around. So like I'm probably pretty visible to anybody who's looking. But if he's distracted, maybe I'm not seen.
So, amazingly, the basilisk doesn't notice any of this going on.
Awesome.
Because the basilisk rolled a 2 with a -1 to its perception check, and even with disadvantage, Skulbyrh rolled a 4 and then a 3. because Elmorn pushed him. And
I
so
was just being
somehow
rude.
you guys have managed to not draw its attention. It's the meal is just too good. This nice fresh stoned pancake. Um,
What are we laughing about?
Oh, that video. That's perfect.
Oh, I can't see the chat.
Pretty much.
So you guys all kind of end up behind a stalagmite, hiding yourselves as best you can. It's a rather large stalagmite, so it accommodates all of you guys standing behind it to hide from the basilisk. And Skulbyrh just kind of looks at you guys and says, "What do we do?"
We go around.
Yeah, let's go back the other way and go around in a wide arc and get out of here.
I tripled that. No desire to fight this creature in this confines. We must turn around and find another way.
It's that, or we all hit it really fast, really hard.
I like the way you think, Tacitus.
I'm not saying that's the best way to do this, but that is an option.
Skulbyrh is kind of chattering, and he says, "What if it hears us?" "We should be quiet." Skulbyrh, what do we do?
Then we'll be silent. And we can speak in our pillow talk voices.
What's Skulbyr's suggestion?
So Skulbyrh kind of looks at you and kind of peeks around and says, "Those creatures are fast. We must be very quiet. If it hears us, it will chase because it can save its food for very long times. We are good food for it."
But for right now, just know where we are, so everyone quiet as you can. Back the way we came, out of its line of sight.
I know where there's a buffet for this fucking thing.
Everybody give me a stealth check and a perception check.
Sweet. Stealth is a nat 20.
Oh, nice. Yes. 2 17s on my disadvantage.
Nice.
So 17 stealth. Because I don't get to add anything.
13 stealth, 10 perception.
So, as you guys begin to back up, Elmorn, you trip, and you trip right into Tacitus's back. Your armors clatter together loudly, resonating throughout the cavern. And the basilisk looks up.
Doesn't notice. Woo!
The basilisk looks up at this. It kind of stops mid-lick and then looks at you and then begins sniffing. But then, Dustin, Marthow, you begin to hear a strange noise, like razor blades striking against each other, like somebody sharpening a knife, but like 100 times over. Like a chorus of knife sharpeners.
Can I tell a specific direction from which it's coming?
Yeah, it's coming from the direction you guys were headed.
So only he hears that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, so...
So the basilisk slowly begins to crawl off of the stone end keg and begins to approach you guys.
I turn to Tacitus and I say, play stone. It won't see us then. Like play dead, but play stone.
I grab a rock from the ground. I cast light on it and throw it. Like since this is a decent size room, at least as best I can tell, I'm gonna throw it to a section we can't see.
Give me a deception check.
Okay, interesting. Charisma, not great. Not great. 15.
Okay. The basilisk looks at the stone as you throw it, but then turns its attention back to you. Marthow, what does Marthow do about the noise that he hears? Because it's also one that's getting closer.
Can we see that part of the room right quick?
What was the noise?
Oh, that's actually very clever. Yeah. And because of the light, you no longer have the issue of disadvantage in the dark, and you're able to see colors. So, Marthow, you hear it. You guys see it before you hear it, but just before. It looks like a cloud, a green cloud, is racing towards you guys.
I'm sure that'll do nothing but benefit us.
The green cloud has come to save us.
In this city of monsters.
We start worshiping the green cloud.
We're not worthy.
All hail the green cloud. Seriously though, I guess cover my mouth. Like, oh shit.
What was the sound that I heard again?
It sounded like a chorus of knife sharpeners.
Ah, yes, that sound.
So you guys have like one action to react to this green cloud that's coming, and the basilisk that suddenly has its attention on the cloud.
Well, as soon as I hear the clanging of armor, I am finding my own stalagmite to hide behind.
Okay.
I mean, I'm covering my mouth to try and not breathe in whatever this green cloud is.
So the basilisk is now attention drawn to the cloud then?
Yeah.
Okay. But the cloud is very clearly moving towards us.
Very quickly, yes.
Well, I'm just gonna move like perpendicular to its trajectory.
I guess I would move Tacitus.
And preferably also away from preferably also away from the basilisk.
Okay. Can we take a quick break, guys?
Sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
Use the bathroom right quick. So my anniversary is coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys have planned?
We're gonna try and go to this Korean restaurant we heard of. Check it out, and then I don't know. I have a couple days off that I also took, so I have like a 4-day weekend coming up to it as well. So that'll be nice.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
And apparently, this particular anniversary traditionally is like the wood anniversary. So I got us some wooden D20s.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think she'll like it?
Yeah, she picked it out.
She's
It
like,
would be funny if you thought she wasn't going to like it. But I bought it anyway.
She's been wanting some wooden dice. They're just real fucking expensive. So I'm like, well, this way we can both get one wooden dice. Because a whole set is like over $100.
Oh wow.
The 2 D20s were like $50.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys see this cloud approach, and if anybody is looking at Skulbyrh or notices Skulbyrh, he's terrified, and he says, "That's the Siltha. Wait a minute, what is it?
Don't ask us. We don't fucking know.
Oh, I got it here somewhere. It's a weird name though. The Silthalar. That's the Silthalar. We got to get out of here." And as Skulbyrh says that, this green cloud completely envelops the basilisk, throwing it into the air. And as it's in the air, the basilisk doesn't even have a chance to scream before it's ripped into pieces and dissolves in front of you.
Marthow books it. The other, he is just gone.
It's like, wait, Skulbyrh, where? Go! Fucking, you gotta show us.
So Skulbyrh says, "The way is," and he points through the Silthalar.
Well, fucking go around. How fast does this thing seem to be moving?
Oh, we're really ridiculously fast. And actually, Marthow. So you guys ever see
really ridiculously fast looking.
You guys ever see Psych?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those episodes where something happens, Sean or Gus are there, and then it goes back to the thing, and then it sees Sean, and you look, and Gus is already running. That's Marthow.
Yeah, Marthow he has not been having a good time, and he is scared. Like this, so he just turned and he ran at what he thinks is the best way. So like these like stalagmites and tights, and as I'm going, maybe 20, 30 feet, do I see any like, what do I see? Do I see like any kind of like hide-offs, or do I see any kind of like other
Unfortunately,
tunnels?
because of the limits of your dark vision, you don't even see like the walls. You just see a lot of stalagmites and stalactites that kind of appear in your vision as you get within 60 feet of them. And the cloud, like, before it even finishes destroying this basilisk, a portion of it seems to flow out and coalesce into something. Let me show you guys what it coalesces into. This guy.
That's worse than the fucking thing I saw up top.
Yeah.
And it screeches, or it sounds like it's a screech, with like a couple of like vibrato type of deflections. And then but it sounds like it does it in this sound as if it's accompanied by a million sharpening knives.
Skulbyrh, friend of yours?
Well, I'm gonna need you to actually do this this sound for us.
What?
Elmorn, friend of yours.
So like it so Eivar, you're hiding, so you wouldn't be seen. Skulbyrh is still behind that original stalagmite because he didn't really get a chance to move before Tacitus and Elmorn stumbled into each other. Marthow has booked it in a random direction. So the thing kind of brings its attention mostly to Elmorn and Tacitus, although one of those clawed arms dissolves into this gas and begins chasing after Marthow.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't have to be faster than the incredibly fast gas cloud. He just has to be faster than us. But apparently, no, we do have to do it.
You must first split it up sufficiently and then be faster.
And the thing stands about 10 feet tall.
This gaseous effect, does it appear magical in nature? Perhaps dispellable? Or does it seem like it comes with the creature?
I need you to make 2 perception checks and an arcana check. If you can succeed 2 out of 3 of those checks, then I can give you a little bit of information.
All right, well, I happen to have 3 dice, so let's see what we got. Big sparkly, gotta be arcana, right?
It's magical.
All right, let's see what we got here. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, 12 on one perception. 20 on the other perception. Arcana, let's see what we got. Oh, fuck, are you kidding me? One time you roll shitty. 12 on the Arcana.
No, you don't know.
Alright. Not enough time to try and figure it out. Time to run. This fucking tiny Thrycreen, is he nearby?
Yeah.
Alright. I'll just fucking snatch him up and start running and following Marthow. I guess. Yeah. I probably don't have a chance to cast a spell yet, so.
If you wanted to use an action point, you could cast a spell.
Nah, I want to save him.
Okay.
I'm going to try and keep that extra one as long as I can.
Elmorn, what are you doing?
Running like hell.
All right, so you run in the direction of Marthow. And then Eivar, as you see them, how do you react?
First, I curse. They're all running away. And then I am going to I'm going to start running too, but I'm going to stop long enough to hurl a thunderstone at the bug creature in the smoke.
So that is an interesting thing that happens there. As the thunderstone makes contact with the creature and explodes, the creature kind of dissolves and then recoalesces. It kind of like almost like the T-1000 in a sense when it was taking those explosions.
Sure, but it's it's gotten a little hotter. It's moved on from liquid phase to gas phase.
Right. I'm sorry, guys. I need to take another minute.
Don't worry.
Go for it. I think we're gonna die, guys.
But don't worry,
He's
it's going to have to take
He's
at
killing
least
us so
a
he can
second
do
to
his
scare
run his
them
Curse of
moments
Strahd
back.
game.
I'm sure the plan of running in a random direction underground will serve us well.
When doesn't it? This is my question.
It's okay, guys. We're still on the mindscape.
Yeah, this is what Folly is dreaming about.
Of course, the spells I didn't think I would need prepared. I kind of need prepared. I figured, oh, gas, Thunderwave. I didn't prepare Thunderwave today. I put on Ice Knife, figuring we might come into go into combat. I kept the Private Sanctum instead of the fucking Storm Sphere. Feel like a Storm Sphere might be helpful with dealing with a gaseous thingy.
Yeah. A lot of my spells are crowd control based, so they're nothing particularly against gas.
Yeah. Also, enlarge, reduce. Didn't prepare it.
Right. The two kinds of magic arrow I have, neither of them are any good against corporeal or gaseous creatures.
You didn't prepare what?
I can try to wrap him up in poisonous brambles and chains. That's not going to work so well.
Right.
Or blind him.
All I have is a halberd.
Yeah. Yeah. The reduce might have been helpful in those or in the tunnels. Instead, I kept Mind Spike, figuring maybe this guy somehow breaks free of the suggestion and tries to fuck with us. So I Mind Spike him. He can run if he likes. I'll still know where he is. Plus, it hurts. Nope. Didn't do it. Oh well.
Yeah, it'd be a good time for like a wall of spell.
Yeah. Wall of anything. Yeah. No wall spells from me.
Wall of walls.
Is the wall of walls just like a maze?
Yes.
I think that spell exists.
I'll have to use that someday. I'll have a character refer to the maze spell as Wall of Walls.
Yeah, maze or imprisonment or as well. Put him into a hedged prison. That's a spell I want to get one day.
Imprisonment?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard of that one.
That's 9th level. It's real high.
If Rothgar were here, he could just try to ride the cloud. Animal handling check, turn it into a mount.
Yeah. Oh, this thing has a bunch of legs. Well, that means I could probably ride it.
I think I figured out why not that many people come to Drome.
We might have been fine had our teleportation not been interrupted.
Yeah. We probably would have been right into the human quarter.
Yeah. And not to a place where somebody had just killed a fucking monster and we had to deal with it. And it was too late for me to think about it. Like, we were already teleported and we're, going through that weird sequence mid teleport. And I'm like, oh shit, I should have like counterspelled to stop the disrupted teleportation. Oh well. Mike said he was glad because that would have thrown off everything.
He just like takes all his adventure notes and throws them in the trash.
Did Mike died?
Maybe.
I think he's in the process of that at least.
Yeah.
I like that I thought that the basilisk was going to be the thing we had to fight. The monster comes and just rips that apart.
It's never that simple with Mike.
The basilisk probably would have been somewhat easy, except for the whole, not being able to look at it thing.
See what I was already thinking? He's already signaled that the saliva from the basilisk can turn you back anyway.
Yeah. This thing we could probably take. We don't have to look away from it and, no fear of being turned to stone.
Just fear of death.
Sure.
That's not a fear. That's a challenge.
The challenge of death?
Yes. How's your other game going, Tony?
Me? Oh,
Which one?
The one that you host, the one that you're a dungeon master.
Pretty good. They finally finished the tournament with only a single death, but that was pre-written. It had to be done. By pre-written, I mean there was a they found a sort of, I don't know if you're familiar with the anime Death Note, but they found a practical Death Note. And out of arcane curiosity, our wizard had his name written in it.
Ah.
Death Note's pretty cool. I like that.
So the game I'm running, I guess I made like an adventure design mistake. I don't know. It's hard to say, but a patron came to the party and explained to them what he needed done and how much he was going to pay and all that. And the adventure was, like, at least as he explained it, like, you have to go, there's a magic door. One person can open this up. It's this dwarf. You've got to go get the dwarf. I think he's in this city, but you're going to have to travel to this city, get him, take him back, and then he can open the door to this sort of extra dimensional space. And so the party travels and gets to the place where this dwarf is, and they immediately find he's missing. And it seemed to like really shock and bother them. And I was like, well, but didn't the fact that like I set it up as part one of the adventure was go get the dwarf suggest that maybe it wasn't going to be as easy as, okay, we're here, okay, we have him, now let's go to the other place? So it took him a long time, several sessions to find the dwarf.
Yep, we'll see if we find it next session. And the next session.
Well, there was like, it's funny. It's also funny because like I way over prepared. I had like 24 NPCs for this leg of the adventure, and like a whole like side mystery that the dwarf was investigating. Like the dwarf was on his own adventure basically, and they had to figure out where he was now. And I kind of expected them to be like a little bit interested in the adventure that the dwarf was on, like because ultimately they had the chance to kind of complete it when he failed in it. But nope, they didn't care about that at all. They're just like, where the fuck is this dwarf? Whatever. People are disappearing. I don't care about that. That's not my job.
It sounds like they're the kind of people that read the quest, that just hit accept on the quest text in a video game and don't actually read what the quest is about. Kill 10 rats, got it.
Actually, one of them did say along that line that my game world, he views it as kind of Witcher-esque because you can bump into people who have nothing to do with your quest line. Like, they just have their own things going on. And he's like, I usually skip all those little side quests. I was like, oh, you are not going to enjoy this adventure.
My own game, like they've made their own next adventure, their next quest. I'm like, well, you could do that, but like, they get called in. Like, here, you wanna get rid of the, the bad man in the city. Well, you need to go down. You need to go down to this, very dangerous place that he once was and collect something. But then they were like, yeah, but then the wizard again is like, he learned the Leomund's secret chest spell, and he really wants to use it. So he has to, but he doesn't have the required materials for it. It requires like some very nice wood. I'm like, well, I'm not going to make this easy. I'm going to give you a choice. You can go find the wood or go do this other quest, And they may end up going towards the chest thing. We'll see. So I've already like thought of a few things for that section of it. If they go that route, what I imagined for the wood is like this. There's like this peninsula sort of thing. It's very much like Florida. So like I was looking up Florida legends. Like the Skulbyrh apparently is a Florida legend. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna put that in there. They're gonna definitely come across one of those.
Are they going to come across Florida Man?
Now, all at the same time, drawing up this freaking dungeon for the other location. That's I'm not sure. There's a couple of rooms where I don't know what I want to put in them yet. Because for the most part, it's sort of obstacle course, no real combat. So, in fact, there's no combat yet. And it might stay that way. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I did like draw up a one-page cheat sheet for like all of my NPCs. They talked to 3 of them briefly, and they left. They're like, we don't want any part of this town.
Sorry about that, guys.
No problem.
I'm having some pretty big problems here.
You take some Pepto, man.
Yeah, I actually, this has been going on for like a week now. So I think if it's still going on tomorrow, I'm going to the ER.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, it started last week. Because remember, I was telling you guys I started not feeling well.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about not going into work. Yeah. Ever since then. Been kind of on and off, but more on than off.
Take more days of rest and some goddamn Pepto. I call Pepto the nectar of the gods because that shit's amazing.
Yeah, I need to get some for sure.
I remember the first time I had that. I had like the slightest of hangovers, basically, but like a upset stomach, and somebody gave me that, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is amazing. Like, I'm cured. I'm good.
It's almost like anti-product placement that you're talking about having stomach issues, and there's a Burger King mask right on the wall behind you.
Oh, that is like, let's see. How old is that thing? That is like 10, 11 years old now. My friend, because I have always had a strong love for the Burger King. Not necessarily the food, but the mascot.
The one true king.
Exactly. And so a friend of mine in college got it for me. I don't know where she got it from, how she found it, but she did, and I was like, this is amazing. And then that night, I came back to my apartment. My roommate was sitting on the couch in the front room, and I entered the apartment wearing the mask, didn't say anything, just stared at him for like 5 minutes straight. And he's like, okay, is this where you kill me?
And that's when you responded, no, this is where I pee on you.
Well, Burger King, like all of the commercials featuring that mascot strike me as creepy.
Yeah.
It's this silent, smiling king with an oversized head just staring at somebody eating or in bed.
Yeah, that's my favorite. When he's at the guy wakes up and he looks over, the Burger King is there, and he sits up and he's got the platter. Where did Anna go?
Be there, like slouching. I wouldn't know.
Oh,
I know.
The Burger King got him.
I was thinking, Tony, that could be in one of your rooms. Just Nicolas Cage in a bear suit.
Well, basically, I've got like one room kind of early on. So like the very first sort of puzzle that they have to deal with is like there's this short 10-foot hallway with a lever, and like but there's also the hallway that they enter in on. There's a door at the end of it, and just to the side of that door is this hallway. If they pull that lever, the door opens to the next room, but that hallway closes up. And like these doors are like basically impossible to move. But if you push the lever back up, that hallway opens up again, but then the door to the room closes. So they have to kind of like figure out which they can easily do with like a mage hand, which they have. So that's just like the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Little things like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the most innocent one. After that, it gets pretty dangerous. Like, like a sort of, it's a hallway, but like it kind of bowls, so like a half pipe sort of thing, but like large.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lever on the end of that, and when you pull that lever, it's just blades, just like everywhere.
Ooh.
I'm sure they can figure it out, but then like, yeah, then I've got like one room there where I don't know what I want to put in there, because it's one of the only places that doesn't have a lever. Essentially, they got to pull 5 levers before they get to the end, or to make the end room accessible.
Mm.
What about Hypnotoad?
I considered like some devil in there to sort of persuade them to leave. Like, you don't need to be here. I'll give you something. What do you want? Sort of thing.
Whereas I was sort of thinking, you mentioned the half pipe. I don't know why. It may be too much of reading Grimtooth's traps, but it just reminded me of a trap where you have like just like that, like a half pipe, like a little almost curved channel, and that's the one safe place, because when you pull the level, like blades come out overhead, and you dive into this channel where you're basically sticking all the blades. But then the Indiana Jones sized ball comes rolling down the.
I have the Indiana Jones ball a little bit later on. And there is a safe spot to sort of avoid that, and it's basically there's this point in the tunnel descends, and then like there's this sort of rounded portion where and then turns back the other way and goes down another hallway, and so like there's this air spot where like the ball would go around basically, but the lever's at the very bottom of that hallway. Yeah.
Oh no! Did he step away, or is he just sleeping there?
He may be sleeping. He was there, but like I couldn't see his head.
I thought he got up.
Then I wasn't paying attention, so he might have stepped away, or he might have just fallen asleep.
You shoot him a message?
I don't know if he'll get through. We'll see. He's sleeping.
I need to add an app to Google Hangouts where you can just like send an electric shock.
Yeah. Um, I don't really want to go on without him, but at the same time,
Maybe he's just afraid we're all going to be killed by the Sylvalar. So he's hiding.
Hey. I can give him a call real quick.
while we're waiting, if you guys want to make a Arcana or History check to see if you recognize that name, Sulfalar.
Fuck, god damn it. Nope.
Which one's better? The same.
Even with a +7, a 2 ain't gonna get me much.
No.
I got a 20 total, either history or arcana.
Okay. I'll send you an email.
No response. History or Arcana, eh? Let's see. Do I get to make that check, or is it just test?
No, you can make it too.
I have a 21, not natural.
Shit, sorry.
Okay.
I mean, I remember them from Lords of Madness.
Dustin, actually, you wouldn't know what they are anyways because you don't even know what the Dhakaani was. And they're kind of linked.
Gotcha. I mean, would I know of them in a context of not understanding what Dhakaani were? Like, as in, like...
No, they go hand in hand.
Okay.
And good for you for picking up on the Lords of Madness book. I thought it was a pretty obscure monster.
I played in a game where they were used once before, although they were not adversaries in that game.
Well, so here are my thoughts. I'm thinking between my stomach issues that are going on and Ano's sudden MIA that we kind of call it here and then get into it next time. But also, Dustin, you said you're traveling next Thursday.
Yep. I'll be gone, out of town.
Can we do Tuesday? Does that work for everybody?
I could do Tuesday.
Yeah. Since we're calling it earlier, I could do Tuesday.
Works for you, Tony? Can't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, next Tuesday I'm good with. The following Tuesday I wouldn't, but...
Okay. Yeah, this is just a one-time move to Tuesday so that we can make sure we get maximum people. And I have no idea what happened to Brendan. He's like falling off the face of the earth.
He tends to do that sometimes.
Yeah, he does.
We had... that happened in our one game with Peter. Yeah, that was before you had joined on, but we
Yeah,
had,
I heard about that.
Nazario, something like that. I don't remember his name. Yeah, he was there for the first couple of sessions, and then kind of just stopped replying. So
It's like, all right.
yeah, he was the princess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was a princess who I was wondering, I was only there for one session with the princess, and he was DMing another game I was in that he disappeared on. But he struck me as potentially a problem player, since his ultimate goal was to hire mercenaries to go complete the quest. And then we would stay in town.
And just drink.
Very realistic solution to the problem of, do we want to adventure in the Underdark?
No, we don't. Let's hire Neil, Kaith, and Neil. Neil and Kaith?
Yeah.
To adventure for us.
Well, if Anna was just asleep, I don't know how he logged out.
Yeah. Maybe he's on a timer? But I don't know.
His computer might have gone to sleep because he's still here, logged on. He's just stopped displaying. So his computer probably fell asleep.
Yeah.
Probably just like him.
All right. So next time we're going to pick up with the thing that seems to be able to eat a basilisk in a second.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
We have to run until we find a bigger gas cloud to eat this gas cloud. We can run from that one.
There's always a bigger gas cloud. I learned that from Star Wars.
All right. I'll see you Tuesday.
All right. Take care, guys.
Do that.